Ndewo Adeze Dunya. Do good. Nnekerukwanu. Bachale Christmas. Dalukwa, it's good to see you. Ndewo nnem. Okay. Dalo Adeze Dunya, Dalo. Bless you. All right. Anamana batamado nile. Gustavo, you're welcome. Right. Happy to have everybody. Let's share the live right now before we start. Let's share. Please share and like, share and keep tapping. Ndinkuzi and all the people on our contact. Let's remind them. Okay. All right. Pato 381. Dalo, thanks for joining on Instagram. YouTube. Kedonya we're na YouTube. Who do we have there? Let me know, please. Okay. Thank you all. Thank you all. Useku Foods, thanks for joining. Please, let's share. Who is on YouTube? Let me know. Thank you. Elizabeth Ngozi. Oh, okay. Mazi Chidebere. Dalo. Thanks for joining on YouTube. Okay. Ndị YouTube, ọ wụ na imetụ aka n'ihu kọmputa gị ma ekwentị gị metụ ugboro abụọ, ọ ga-egosi na itinyela ya aka n'akara ịhụnanya. Please, let's do that. For TikTok, thank you all for sharing and liking. Ndewo nnam. Okay. Yeah. Ụbọchị ahụ erukwala ọzọ mgbe anyị ga-ekwu okwu n'Igbo. Chifoman, ndewo, you're welcome. It's about the time again. And we thank God. Anyị na-ekele Chineke onye dosara anyị ndụ wee mekwa ka I batana ihe ọmụmụ nke ụbọchị taa. I appreciate everybody. Thank you all. Please, if you come in, share, and keep tapping on the screen for us, especially those on TikTok, Instagram, then YouTube. Wada Sali, Dalukwa. Hi V, you are welcome. Ndewo. Hi V, Igbo onye Igbo ka Igbo onye Bekee. You can, ọ bụrụ na ị bụ nwa afọ Igbo, mee ka m mara ezigbo aha gị. All right. Okay, hi V, gịnị bụ ezigbo aha gị? Ndewo. I believe is a good thing to be here. Dalo Ada Sale, Ada Neri Ukwano. All right. Okay. Okay, Ada Wada Hiv. Ndewo. Good evening, Chifoman. Dalo Hiv, amam na nke a bụ nke mbụ ị na-abịa na-esonye anyị na ihe ọmụmụ. Anyị nọ ebe a, anyị gaa n'ebe a ihe dịka awa abụọ na-akpa ihe gbasara asụsụ Igbo. This is a very unique moment. So obi dị anyị ụtọ na isonyere anyị na TikTok. Daalụ o, ndewo. Right. So n'ụbọchị Mọnde niile, mgbe ọ kụrụ elekere anya 7 nke mgbede, ọ bụrụ na ị nọ na Nigeria, na mba Europe na UK. And do good. Eziokwu. There dates. Thank you. Uchemari is going to by 2026. Tabo 12. 26. Okay. So as I welcome everybody, those on YouTube, please, ndị na-esonye na YouTube, make a mara aha gị. If you join us on YouTube, please let me know your name. All right. TikTok shows us names, and Instagram as well. Right. And then help us let people know that we're here, that we have started. Thank you. All right. I ka nọkwa n'isiokwu nke anyị kpọrọ Mkpụrụokwu Igbo. We're still on the topic, the Igbo aspects of the Igbo words. Ndị nọ na YouTube, ejimaka na unu na-ahụ ya nke ọma, right? YouTube is a little bit blurry. So I ka nọ n'isiokwu nke anyị kpọrọ Igbo aspects of Igbo words, or Mkpụrụokwu Igbo. O teele anyị bidoro ileba anya n'ihe gbasara Mkpụrụokwu Igbo. For some weeks now, we've been looking at this topic. Ihe dutere anyị ileba anya n'isiokwu a dịka anyị na-akọwa ebe a mgbe ọbụla anyị gbakọrọ bụ na anyị chọpụtara na ọtụtụ ụmụafọ Igbo amaghị Igbo ede. If this is your first time, you're joining us like our sister Ada Hiv, it is important for you to understand that we are here to correct some of the problems, errors that we see when Igbo speakers write Igbo. Mgbe nwafọ Igbo na-ede Igbo, ọtụtụ oge anyị na-enweta ihe a na-edezi nke ọma. Anyị na-ahụta na ọtụtụ mmadụ na-edegheri Igbo, na-edejọ Igbo, na-edehie Igbo. Okay? Ya nwa mere anyị ji bido ihe ọmụmụ a. And like I will always remind us, ihe ọmụmụ a bụ nke ebidoro nye ndị nkuzi ndị na-akụzi Igbo, n'ihi na anyị chọrọ karịchasịa n'ebe n'ogo ọta akara na sekọndịrị, ka ọ bụrụ na ndị na-akụzi Igbo bụ ndị chara acha, ndị tụrụ ugo na ihe gbasara ọmụma asụsụ Igbo. We wanted to ensure, as gatekeepers of the Igbo language, that anybody teaching Igbo language is going to be a person that will know their onions, that will know what they are doing, that will know every aspect of the language, especially as it comes to writing. We know ume Nkiru daalụ o, ekelekwa m gị, ndewo. Anyị maara na asị nwafọ Igbo sụọ Igbo, nwafọ Igbo chara acha toro n'ala Igbo, o nwere ike ọ ga-ama ka esi ara Igbo tara ya ka ofe okra. Nwunye m hụrụ ofe okra n'anya nke ukwuu. Mụnwa ana m eji ike eri ofe okra, n'ihi na ọ na-echetara m experience m nwere with okra mgbe m na-eto eto na-adịchaghị nke ọma. Prof ndewo. Mana nwunye m ma ka esi esi ofe okra nke ọma, shie ya na ọ bụrụ na ị naghị eri ofe okra, ị ga-ama mgbe ị ga-eje dagoro n'elu okra, richaa ya, raa ya, rachaa ya. Ọ ụdị ofe okra ahụ ka m na-ekwu maka ya. Dịka na nwa afọ ọbụla ma asụsụ ya, mara omenala ya na asụsụ ya so, any native speaker of any language can give you a powerful speech or can give you a powerful colloquial expression of their language anytime you call on them, because it's innate. It is inborn, it is intuitive. Okay, you do not get to learn your language as a child growing up. You get to acquire your language growing up, and then the cultural nuances that are associated with your language, you get to acquire all of this growing up. And we were meant to know that within the first 5 years of your childhood development, you may have acquired up to 80% of your language, your linguistic heritage. So with that, nobody would doubt. Dora Digital, Dalu, good to have you, okay? Ndewo. Isokwala ndị na-emebiri m register, Dora Digital. But I'm very happy to see you today and do good as well, because I'm no na egwu ekeresimesi kamgbe. No, Dalu. All right. So you do not get to go to school to learn your language in the first place. Prof Ndewo. All right. But when you miss that, that's where the problem begins to come. Now, the difference between a person who had the opportunity of acquiring their language in the first 5 years of their childhood and a person who didn't have that opportunity due to where they were born or something, but happen to come back later in life to start learning it. The difference is usually in the expression, colloquial expression. But ihe gbasara Igbo, n'ebe a na-ede ya ede n'odide Igbo, it is very, very unfortunate, disheartening that sometimes you don't even know the difference between onye mụrụ Igbo ka ọ na-eto eto na onye na-amụzi Igbo dịka agadi, how they write Igbo. Sometimes it is unfortunately disheartening. And I'm saying this as a person who is teaching the language, like as a teacher of the language. Angel Dalo, thanks for joining and following. Angel, ọ bụrụ na ị bụ nwa afọ Igbo, igwe anyị ezigbote aha gị. O Angel pụtara mmụọ ozi. And I'm sure you are not Angel Michael or Angel Gabriel. Dalo Angel, good to have you. All right. So, and it is also unfortunate that this has been going on. This has been going on. Michael, it's good to have you. Michael Showbiz. We're glad to have you on TikTok. There we go. All right. Those joining us on YouTube, please, when you join, do not forget to put your name down. Let's know you are here. All right. So it has been going on. And for us, this is an opportunity. This is a privilege we have, that we are trying to be one of those creating a different historical trend for the Igbo language. So for those of you that are here joining us from outside of Igbo land, your presence is the reason we speak, or I speak English in this class. Because I value your presence, I value your interest, that you come here every time. Beatrice, Dalu, Ndewo Beatrice, good to see you. So, Adam Butochukwu. Oh, I believe you want to say Aham Butochukwu. TC, Dalu. Tochukwu Ndewo. Oh, right. Okay. So I appreciate those that are joining us for the first time. Exactly. I mean, especially that I am happy and I'm at home more Igbo speakers, Igbo, probably who were not born in Igbo land or who are not growing up in Igbo land. I'm seeing an increased interest. Ndewo. Yeah, TC. I got them noble they join here. Oh, so it is. And I'm putting it back to you. Ụmụafọ Igbo, ọ bụrụ na ịbata na ihe ọmụmụ a, ya bụrụ na ịnọcha ebe a, ihe a kụziri masịrị gị, ị nwere ọrụ, gbaa mbọ were nkụzi a zigara nwa afọ Igbo enyi gị maọbụ nwanne gị maọbụ ndị ezinụlọ gị maara ọ na-ara ahụ ide Igbo. Ị maara na ịsụ maọbụ ide Igbo na-enye ha nsogbu karịchasịa odide. Lots and lots of Igbo children are being born outside of Igbo land. This is a problem. It is a huge problem. There's an Owerri musician that did a song that it took me a lot of time to recognize what he sings. He sings it in Owerri dialect. All I say, I can't remember say Lotanu's or something like that. Today, the Igbo race, the Igbo nation, the Igbo people have realized that as much as we praise ourselves as people who travel a lot, as people who can be found in the moon, in the stars, in the sun, because we are all over the place, that this is becoming a very huge disadvantage to our culture, to our cultural and linguistic heritage. Reason being that more and more Igbo people are born outside the Igbo land by parents who do not have interest in speaking Igbo or in raising them in Igbo language. And you see more and more Igbo born saying, oh, I can hear, I cannot understand, I cannot speak. You know, you see a parent who says, hey, oh, all of this is what we call ajambele. We call it what? Ajambele. Wanda Salid. Oh, thanks for also going to YouTube to ginger us up there. So you hear this all the time now, more regularly. Oh, he understands, he can understand, or when they say he hears, but he cannot speak. It is bad, like flat out bad. It is terribly bad. So if you are an Igbo born, you have found yourself in the position of not being able to either comprehend adequately or even expressing yourself in Igbo, and you happen to run into this class, it is an opportunity for you. I mara na enwere ọtụtụ ndị na-akụzi Igbo na social media. Why we are proudly doing what we're doing is that because we know that in terms of training, we have the training. Not everyone teaching Igbo and possibly using Igbo to gain influence and clout on social media today is trained in the language science. So that is why we're making efforts in doing what we're doing. Thank you. Thank you, those joining on YouTube and giving us hearts. So I appreciate you all. Ndewono. So I abiakwala n'ihe ọmụmụ nke ụbọchị taa. Now, I also want to stress that it is important, that it is important for you to acknowledge the presence of non-Igbo speakers who are here, who join this class often, just because of the interest and the love they have for the people and the language. So I make our time to always appreciate them for being in this class. So, I see a lot of activities going on YouTube as well. All right. So, as we go on, please keep sharing the live and liking. For TikTok, I've only seen 4 shares. Because menu kande madu mara na neighbor. Ifi mola, what is your kinewa hage? Ifi ndewo, you're welcome. Ndewo Ifi, what's your Igbo name? Neoma. Neoma, you're welcome. Dalo. Ifoma, all right. Ifoma ndewo. Choma. Dalo, Ndewo, thanks for joining us on Instagram, Choma. I'm wondering why your name is written that way, Choma, with R and with H. Ne Choma okwa Choma nke Igbo ko ndị ala bekee. Ana m ekele mmadụ. Thank you all. All right, so we are continuing in the topic Mkpụrụokwu Igbo. Taa anyị ga-enye ọmụmaatụ ọzọ mkpụrụ ole na ole ndị na-egosi anyị mgbe a na-agbakwunye mgbakwunye e maọbụ a n'ihu ngwa. Remember, we are still treating the verbs, right? And we're looking at how an average verb or verbal word in Igbo is formed. And we're looking at the formation when there is an affix, or rather when there's a prefix. Remember, there are other types of affixes. We're looking at the prefix. So right now, when we got to prefix or prefixes, anyị lere anya nke mbụ bụ infinitive, infinitival prefix. Anyị emechala nke ahụ wee gafezie na nke a na-akpọ tense marker or present tense marker nke bụ a na a. I wee na-asị ọ bụrụ na agbakwunye a maọbụ a n'ihu isi ngwa ọ ga-enye anyị mkpụrụ okwu nke na-egosi ihe mmadụ na-eme maọbụ ugbu a maọbụ ihe mmadụ na-eme na-aga n'ihu. So we say that when you add a stroke a, which is a prefix, in front of a verb root, example of me, it will give us something like eme. Example of za, it will give us aza. Eme, aza, aza. This is doing or does. This is sweeping or sweeps. Okay. So these two words we wrote there indicate present or present continuous. That is to say that eme, doing, aza, sweeping, or does, or sweeps. We can only form these words by adding either of these allomorphs. I do not always like to use linguistic terms when I'm teaching my class because I want to speak in the very account details, Beatrice. No, it is in sweeping and sweeps. Chinonso, Chinonso, what is your full name? Chinonso, Ndewo. Thanks for joining us on TikTok. All right. So when we add either of these allomorphs, variants, we will get either of these. And also remember, we know or have understood that this has a self or arbitrary selection according to the rules of vowel harmony. Okay? That is to say that Igbo, asụsụ Igbo na-erube isi n'iwu nke ndakọrịta ụdaume, vowel harmony rules. We are going to get to that. If I use a big terminology you don't understand, please put it on the chat to explain. But why I'm explaining without writing this down is because we have, been saying this in the class. But for the benefit of those joining us for the first time, I can pause and explain further, so that you will be carried along. Thank you. Ndewo, ndị nọ na YouTube, thank you for being active. Okay. So anyị hụrụ ọtụtụ ọmụmatụ. Anyị wee na-ekwukwe na mgbe anyị na-enwe ụdị mkpụrụokwu a, chetakwa na ọ bụrụ na anyị chọọ iji emebe ahịrịokwu, ihe na-esote ya n'ihu, a ga-enwesara ihe na-esote ya n'ihu nke anyị na-akpọ enyemaka ngwa maọbụ enyemaka ngwa, nke bụ dịka anyị na-ekwukarị Obi na-eme ihe ngwa ngwa. Obi na-aza ụlọ ya. Unu hụrụ ya? Usekwu ndewo, daalụ maka onyinye afọ ọma. All right. So Obi na-eme ihe ngwa ngwa na-egosi anyị na eme ebe a is showing us the presence of the auxiliary, right? Nyemaka maọbụ enyemaka ngwa. Obi na aza, also the same. And it is important to understand that the na, which we are going to see in the future, the function of na, does not change the form when we are writing it as auxiliary. Beatrice. Yeah, obi ka anyị chọrọ iji na-eme ihe ọmụmatụ anyị. Ọ sị na obi na-ada atala ahụ. Ọkwa ịmara mgbe anyị na-aga school, obi, ada, then eze na uju. All right. Okay, so this means obi does things fast. Okay, obi makes things happen fast. Okay, obi is doing something quickly. If you want to go for a non-standard English, obi na-aza ụlọ ya. Obi is sweeping his room, or obi sweeps his room. So, I'm not going to be writing the English version. So we have seen a lot of these type of construction. And ihe anyị na-achọ iwepụta bụ igosi na mgbe ọbụla anyị hụrụ mkpụrụ okwu dị otu a, anyị na-ele anya ka e na a ji bụrụ mgbakwunye, hụkwanụ na na-edekọta ha ọnụ, hụkwanụ na mgbe a na-ede edekọta ha ọnụ, na a na-enwe na dịka nyemaka ngwa. I do not want to bring the other auxiliary verb, which is ga. Okay? We are not talking about the future, we're talking about the present at this time. And I'm teaching Igbo, and the topic is on the board. If this is your first time, you are welcome. Iburu nwafu Igbo, anyị na-akụzi Igbo ebe a, okay? All right, you're welcome. So, thank you, Vital Life. Thanks for joining. Thanks for the rose. Uche Peters, thanks for joining us on Instagram. Ndewo. Uche, daalụkwa. All right. Ndewo Ann, thanks for joining us today. So we're here every Monday, 7 p.m. Nigerian time, and European time, I don't know, I think it's either 1 hour, I don't know what they're doing now, or 1 p.m. Eastern time, American time, okay? All right. So, ihe anyị na-achọ ime ka mmadụ niile mara, the emphasis we are laying lies on how we see the writing together of the verb root and the prefix. Because agbakwunyere me wee nye anyị eme, maọbụ agbakwunyere za wee nye anyị aza. Each one of them, whenever you're writing it, you have to ensure that you write it together, especially when you observe the presence of the auxiliary na. And it is na that helps us construct this sentence that indicates present. Ihe obi na-eme ugbu a. What is obi doing now? Obi na-eme ihe ngwa ngwa. That means it's either that obi is doing that now, or obi is a person who does things fast. Obi is known to do things fast. Or obi is sweeping his house or room now. Obi is currently sweeping, is an ongoing action. Or it is a habitual action. Obi sweeps his house, obi sweeps his room. Ọ ihe anyị maara ọ na-eme. Nwa afọ Igbo ọbụla toro n'ụlọ maara na a na-aza ụlọ aza. You sweep the house. Ndewo, usekwu food. Okay? It is incumbent of a person who lives in a family to be part of the chores, and one of the chores you do is sweeping. We grew up knowing that you wake up in the morning, get your bed ready. If there's anything like you slept on a bed alone or something, you jump out and carry the broom. You sweep the rooms, the kitchen, you remove the ash from the hearth, and you throw that away. You sweep the outside. This is what you do before you go to school every morning. Ihe a bụ ihe ị ga-eme. Ọ bụ ebe a mụrụ ụmụ atọ na anọ, a na-eke ya eke. Onye nke a ga-aza ụlọ, onye nke a ga-aza ama, onye nke a ga-ekpo ntụ na kitchen, n'usekwu, wee kpofuo ya, zachaa ya. Sometimes, most of the times, of course, we ate before going to school. So you know that you need to get these things done. Okay? You cannot wait till you come back from school before you sweep the house. Yes, sleeping, followed by fetching water. Some people go to the stream in the morning. Ụfọdụ ndị na-aga mmiri, gakuo mmiri tupu ha aga school. This was a beautiful way of living our lives, okay? Before, when you change environment, live in the urban areas and all that, where you have tap water, where you have water running through your system and all of those, where you have possibly house helps who now sweep your house, and you continue being lazy, eating all the fatty foods and getting lazy and getting sick. In the morning, you do your chores. Obi is one of those that does that. That's what we're trying to show here. And these two sentences can also relate. We know that Obi na-aza ya ngwa ngwa, because Obi bụ onye na-eme ihe ngwa ngwa. Okay? So we can look at them as related. Obi does things fast. That means when he's sweeping, he sweeps fast too. All right? Okay, Ndewo Beatrice, yes, thanks for correcting that. Nneka Ugwoke, Ndewo o. Daalụ, ịlọtala Christmas. Ezumike Christmas, daalụ o. Kizimege, are you Igbo? You're welcome. Thanks for joining on TikTok. All right. Ndewo mmadụ niile. Aha, ndị YouTube, ndewo no o. Onye nwe ajụjụ, ijụọ, anyị ka nọ na ịkọwa ihe gbasara mgbakwunye nke a na-akpọ ganiru prefix. Ọ bụ na ịgbakwunye n'isi ngwa, etu esi ede ya. Remember, our concern is how to write. Chizzy, daalụ. Chizzy, you're welcome. Ndewo o. And ndị nọ na YouTube na-emetụrụ na ya aka n'akara ịhụnanya. Ya nwa ka Nwada Sally bịara igosi unu ka esi eme ya. I'm not seeing a lot of love coming from you all. Is it that you people don't like us, don't love us at all? Thank you, those on TikTok. Vital Life, thanks for sharing. Dalo. All right. As well, those on Instagram. They won. So our concern since the beginning of this class is to show an Igbo writer, whether you are an Igbo native speaker or non-native speaker, to show how an average Igbo word is written at any time. Whenever you want to use an Igbo word in a sentence, you must know how it is written. If you write English, for instance, incorrectly, anybody who is reading what you wrote will get confused. That is how it is in Igbo. That is how it is in any language that is known to be a reading language, right? So, but our concern is that the frequency at which Igbo language is incorrectly written by Igbo people, Igbo speakers, is alarming. And it is not something we can continue to condone. Yes, it does, Beatrice. I mean, I don't know if there's a difference between like and love on YouTube. I think both of them are, I mean, the symbol of the heart, right? I think it's the same thing, but I don't know. Okay. Right. So here, I want you to lay your emphasis, your viewing emphasis on how this cluster is written. And what we are saying since we started this, and we have shown numerous examples, is that you cannot write this kind of construction in any other way. For instance, let me give you the examples of incorrectly written expression that should have looked like this. Obi na. Okay. Na-eme ihe ngwa ngwa. Obi na-eme ihe ngwa ngwa. Okay, Chizi, thanks for that clarification. Ndewo. All right, Bubu, Ndewo. Bubu, is that Kingsley? Bubu, you're welcome. Ndewo, Nwafibu. Bad, bad. Many of the times, you will see this kind of writing. You will see this kind of expression. What is bad about it? Look at it. And now, the emphasis we are laying is Umuafi will be kono. Any word you write and it is incorrect in a sentence, you have ended up killing the meaning, the understanding that is supposed to be seen or grasped from what you wrote. Onye ọbụla na-agụ ihe idere bụ onye maara Igbo ga-enwe nsogbu ịghọta ihe ị na-ede ma ọ bụrụ na idezi ya ọfụma. It becomes a problem you are creating. Obiano June one day. Oh, thanks for joining us on Instagram. Yes, absence of a hyphen and the added apostrophe in the two sentences. Nkembo, there's no hyphen here, right? It has been observed. Nke abụọ, onye dere nke a tinyere apostrophe, rekom elu maọbụ nke a na-akpọ rekom ngwu. You cannot do that. As soon as you do this, you have changed the meaning of what you want to write. This is our concern. So, if you are an Igbo, a native speaker of the language, you can speak it without, I mean, as you are in the dream speaking it. Yes, beautiful. Or you are not so fluent in Igbo, okay, that you cannot speak it well. Blink Queen, I'm not sure we invite people to co-host, okay? So to do not send a request. Thank you. Can just listen. All right. So no matter what level of your fluency in spoken Igbo, what is the concern of this campaign we are building, Igbo Literacy Project, that is run by Omenka app, is this: to prevent Igbo speakers and Igbo writers from writing an expression like this or like this. When we mean this. And I do not It doesn't bother me how many hours it takes me to dwell on explaining this, so long as at the end of the class, even if this is what you grabbed and you go. But then, what I mean by grabbing is grabbing it to the point that you can apply it to every other expression that you write tomorrow. Immediately after, isi na class apụọ, I wee ghọta na mgbe ị na-ede ihe nke na-ada, nke ga-achọ ime ka ịghọta ihe mmadụ na-eme, na ị ga-ejirịrị akara uhie nke a na-akpọ hyphen wee mee ka wee jikọta nyemaka ngwa na ngwa ya, wee ghọtakwa na mgbe ị na-eme ya na a ga-edekọta nganiru ya na ngwa ahụ nọkọtara. Those of you that have been following us since we started the topic Mkpụrụokwu Igbo, you know we started by looking at the verb root on its lexical form before we started adding the prefixes, okay? And today we are going to be rounding off on this, the prefix that indicates or that shows us when a person is in the present doing something. Now, all of this that I'm talking about here now, and I'm repeating some things now, is for the benefit of those that are either joining us for the first time or those that just returned from Egwu Ekeresimesi. Amam na unu erifuola nke unu mụtara n'afọ gara aga na nri. Ugbu a ga-ebidokwa n'isi. But obi na-atọ m ụtọ bụ na ọtụtụ ndị nkuzi, ndị na-akụzi Igbo n'ebe a. So I'm not preaching to the choir. And this is the right set of people that we really want to be here. In addition to those who are learning Igbo at any level. So ana mekele unu niile. Daalụnụ, okay? All right. Nwere ajụjụ? Any questions? You did not catch everything. You did not get it all. Before I move to a different thing. Ndị TikTok, unu na-agbalị. Chukwu gọzie unu. Thanks for all your hearts and sharing. You are engaging well. Ndị Instagram, daalụkwanụ. Not much has come from you. I need people to ask questions, please. Questions. All right. Okay. Anyị ahụla dịka anyị nọ na-ele anya na-atụgharị uche na-amụkwa ihe gbasara ka esi ede mkpụrụokwu Igbo. Anyị ahụla na enwere ndịiche dị na, okay, here, let me say, Blessed Beauty. I na-anabata gị na TikTok. Ndewo. You're welcome. All right. Okay. Tonia Chooks. Ndewo. You're welcome. Now, let's look at this. Thanks for the roses. Useku foods. This is the first time I am putting down this way. And I would like for you to, if you are taking pictures or if you are writing, please take note of this. Abona inwe nghọta na enwere ngalaba abụọ mwepụtara ebe a. Esther, you're welcome. Thanks for joining us. Wee hụ na enwere nnọchiaha. Pronoun. This is pronoun. Okay. For those that do not know, this is prefix. So ihe m chọrọ iwepụta ebe a bụ na ọ bụ na ọ dababeghị na ntị ma ọ bụ ọ batabeghị n'uche. Kamsi Vera 5, thanks for joining on Instagram. Kamsi, I believe you are Igbo. Kedo, dalo. So if you have not noticed, since you have been using Igbo language, you speak Igbo, you write Igbo, but it has not really occurred to you that na-enwere nnọchiaha na nganiru, pronoun and prefix in Igbo that are categorized this way, but their functions in the language are different. Please, I want you to take note of that now. So, and this is where our major problem, challenge in writing Igbo comes. If we can get this, we will become prolific and proficient Igbo writers. So, and we have dealt with most of this, if not all of them. So I am going to where, you know, we have an expression that has nocha a maọbụ e. Okay? Remember, enwekwara ya na nganiru prefix a maọbụ e. And that is what we just finished talking about, discussing right now, because this is the second week we are looking at that. Tupu anyị ekwuo ihe gbasara nnọcha a na e. Thank you, Darila, for sharing. Thank you for coming. I know this is your first time. Cal Kelv, thanks for joining on Instagram. Why don't we use Oda when writing? Is it Udolu? You can't see me. Wow, you can't see me. No, but I can see you here now. What's in the happen? Remy Dagrin, Nami. All right, you can see me. Can you explain what you mean? Udolu kinepu. Udolu na Udal. No. Udolu bo Udanile. It means Udelu, Udala, Udansoda. Anapoya Uda Olu. That is the tone. And you are talking about tone mark. Yes. I do not always tone mark. It is not out of place, okay? Beatrice, you're not serious? Oh my God. Okay. What is wrong in Johnson and learning Igbo? Oh God. Beatrice, I can see the Igbo, okay? All right. Okay. You can see me. I do not know because you want to get the so that I would call you in your Igbo name. So I want you to not worry a lot as an Igbo learner. If you are Igbo born Igbo learner, all right, Oloma Chidalu. I would encourage you to worry less about the tone or tone marking in Igbo. If you emphasize, if you put a lot of energy wanting to understand it as an Igbo learner, it will create more confusion for you. Okay, so I use a theory that suggests for you to tone mark when it is necessary. Okay, and if what I wrote is confusing and you ask question which one is it, like before you came, I put a few examples and I tone marked them. So right now what you're seeing on the board, I do not necessarily need to tone mark it. When we emphasize on tone marking is when we have a variant, okay, another word that looks alike but either sounds different and then means different as well. All right, so but yes, we tone mark when it is necessary. Right, so what I was trying to explain is that know it today, children of God, that in Igbo language we have pronouns, nocha, prefixes, nganiru, that are like this. They do different functions. They function differently in the language. And this is noticed only when you are writing Igbo. When you are speaking Igbo, nobody notices, these similarities and differences. But oru hala no dide, ide erie ya, ide jọọ ya, imeela ka onye na-achọ ego ihe na-ede nwee nsogbu ịghọta ihe na-ede. You have created a problem for the reader. Laurentia 47, Dalu, thanks for joining us on Instagram. Right, so we have taken care of this today. I have finished discussing A and E as Nganiru prefix. We started this class last year talking about A and E as pronouns, the fourth person pronoun. Nochahan roaka. Namukumo dalo. I greet you, sir. We now started, after we finished talking about this, I went by lebanya mgbe ana gbakwunye I maọbụ e n'ihu ngwa in the front of the verb to indicate an infinitival expression. Okay? Mkpụrụokwu nke na-egosi infinitive. I will gosi onwe anyị na o nwere ndịiche dị na mgbe anyị nwere nganiru infinitive mgbe anyị na-achọ ide ya na mgbe anyị na-achọ ide okwu bidoro na nnọchi ahụ onye abụọ I na A. We have established that as well. O doro anya ọfụma, Elizabeth daalụ. Nke atọ, we had also in the last year looked at O and O as nnọchi ahụ pronoun. Right now, we are going to go looking at how do we write O and O as prefixes and where and when do we have them occur. Okay? Kedu mgbe anyị ga-ahụzi O na O n'ihu ngwa iji nyere anyị aka ịghọta ka esi ede ya. That is where next we are going. And then, as you can see, we will jump over from there to the M and the Mo. Of course, Mo na anyị edele anyị ekwuola maka ya mgbe anyị na-eleba anya na nnọchi aha. But we're going to be looking at M and as syllabic nasals. All right, Mr. JP. Kedu. All right. Ụfọdụ mgbe ọ bụghị naanị A maọbụ A maọbụ E maọbụ E na-abịa n'ihu ngwa. We have expressions where O is the prefix. Okay? And this is going to give us an example of the kind of word we call derivatives, where a word is derived. And that's another type of word expansion. Kedu nke bụ ndezi mkpụrụ okwu Igbo ndị a? Nwanyị na nwanyị, ezinụlọ na ezinụlọ. Okay. This coming from Elizabeth Nneka Ugwoke. You may have observed, yes, that people write nwanyị and nwanyị. Ezinụlọ versus ezinụlọ. I will start by saying the second one, that ezinụlọ is the consensus accepted way of writing ezinụlọ n'Igbo. Dịka ezinụlọ pụtara family, okay? Nwanyị is different, Beatrice. Right. But you may also see people writing this. And what you will understand is that you cannot completely say this is bad, but it is recommended you write ezinụlọ. That is what is more accepted among Igbo scholars, okay? Then for nwanyị and nwanyị, and I will tell you sincerely, I write both of them. The reason I write both of them is sometimes I would say for convenience. I just don't want to write the double R, okay? Doc came out is asking, is this vowel assimilation? That's not what I'm teaching if it's what you are asking. I'm addressing a person's question, okay? The topic is on the board. All right. So, but if what you're asking is about the example, yes, this is an example where there is a vowel assimilation, complete vowel assimilation, okay? So the A in here is swallowed, or rather deleted, if you want to use that expression. So then for here, one, I said to you, I write both of them. Okay? And sometimes I see myself writing with one A, sometimes I see myself. So when I want to, that I will say, that I will say for is an official one. Agama abambo de otu. Nkoblam jibido obo nwanyị nke m dere a abụọ. Agama ede a abụọ ruo na njedebe. I will be consistent. But for convenience, sometimes if it is not an official text I'm writing, I can use either of them. That is me. And I have not seen any law that really completely stands against either of them, because if you look at the production of the word, the articulation of the word, you will say nwanyị is nwanyị, having the two a being together, because Igbo language accepts, or rather supports you writing two vowels, okay? Then on the other hand, you can say nwanyị. So this is, for me, it is a matter of idiolect. And idiolect has to do with how a person pronounces a word. So if your production brain tells you that you call nwanyị as one, fine. I believe that there's no penalty to that. Amamo Doraya for you. Exactly. Spoken and written comes in as well, Beatrice. Here, nwanyị, you find out that sometimes all the but when you're writing, it's expected that, okay, you either write, I've not seen anywhere one is cancelled, just because you didn't do the double R or something. All right. Okay. All right, so I was trying to bring us now to the prefix where we have O and O. As when a prefix, treasure there, O, thanks for following and thanks for joining us. Ọtụtụ mgbe anyị na-edewe ihe maọbụ anyị na-achọ ikwu okwu anyị wee hụ na ngwa anyị na-achọ ide ihe, anyị na-achọ ije dee ihe, anyị tinye mkpụrụ okwu n'ihu ya maọbụ mkpụrụ edemede. Rather, if we put a sound or a letter in front of the verb changes from a verb to a noun. In this case, we say a word has been derived because a word has left the state or the category of its existence and changed into a new form of word. So you have succeeded in deriving a new form of word in your expression. Nke a na-eme n'asụsụ Bekee. It happens in English. I think it happens in French, at least to the best of my knowledge. N'asụsụ Igbo, mgbe ọbụla ị hụrụ mkpụrụ edemede o maọbụ ọ, ọtụtụ mgbe, most of the times, ihe ọ na-egosi bụ nnọchiaha, pronoun. But when o and o or become prefixes, as soon as they are added to a verb, automatically you change the category of that word. Now look at example. This is an example I've treated very well. Look at an example where we have o na o dika nnọchiaha. So remember, I see obi na-aza ụlọ ya, right? Wee sịkwa obi na-eme ihe ngwa ngwa. We are still going to look at obi again. This is obi, right? We are talking about, right? So ọ na-eme ihe ngwa ngwa. Ọ na-aza ụlọ ya. O mere ihe eziri ya. O mere ya ngwa ngwa. Kedu ebe ị na-ajụ maka ya, Nneka? Ọ bụ na nwaanyị ka ọ bụ na ezinụlọ? Mee ka m mara. Oh, all right. Ọ na-eme ihe ngwa ngwa. Onye ka anyị na-ekwu? Obi. Ọ na-aza ụlọ ya. Onye ka anyị na-ekwu? Obi. O mere ihe eziri ya. Anyị ma ihe eziri ya. O mere gịnị? O mere, ọ zara ụlọ. O mere ya ngwa ngwa. Ọ ihe anyị ji mara ya. Obi na-eme ihe ngwa ngwa. Right. So in all of these expressions, you see that we wrote all of these separately because they are functioning as pronouns. Kenny Revenge. They are functioning as pronouns. Ha na-arụ ọrụ dịka, okay, nne. Ha na-arụ ọrụ dịka nnọchiaha. Ihe na-anọchite aha. Ihe na-anọchite aha ya bụ nnọchiaha. Okay? Right. So there's no dispute and there's hardly any problem anybody writing this, even, you know, those who have a basic knowledge of Igbo in writing, I expect that, you know, this is written this way. No problem. Right. Okay. So we have established that when we are writing the pronouns, from the examples we've seen, we write them apart because, of course, on a gosi mado, a person whose name is now replaced with O and O. And in Igbo language, those are all those two variants, the variants, they are the third person pronoun. Of course, we have dealt with all of this. But when you now have a reason to put O and O in front of a verb, that is where you now go into derivation. Iken Nandeo, oh, thanks for the roses. Dalo. All right. I can ekwukwo obi. All right. Kailanya na ọmụmaatụ ebe a. Daalụ nna m. Okay. Mgbe anyị gbakwunyere O n'ihu me, I think I'm going to also put the tone mark here. O me, e, o, za, a. All right. Mgbe anyị gbakwunyere O n'ihu me, of course, it has a natural high tone. Okay. Anyị ga-enweta ome maọbụ ome e. Ome maọbụ ome e. Nke pụtara n'asụsụ bekee do a, doer. Okay. Anyị wee gbakwunye O. Chetakwa na itinye O ebe a na-enyere anyị aka irube isi na iwu ndakọrịta ụdaume. Ndewo Ikenna. Ọ gaghị ekwe ka itinye O ebe a. Ya bụ na ihe anyị ga-agbakwunye ebe a bụ gịnị? O za ga-enye anyị ọza a. Ọza a nke bụ sweeper. Right. Now, because Obi sweeps his room, because Obi sweeps it fast, Obi may have become a sweeper. We may tag Obi as a sweeper. Because Obi na-eme ihe always, mgbe ọbụla ị bịara nke Obi ọ na-eme ihe always, Obi may have become a doer. In fact, a doer of many things, right? A doer of good things, right? A doer of wonderful things, just like we can ascribe to God. Right. Now, if you look at the expression, you find out that we selected the variants according to the rule of the vowel harmony, Igbo vowel harmony. That is to say that O cannot come here, O cannot come here. For those that we are not in the class when we talked about the vowel harmony, you will pay additional school fees for me to teach that topic again. In fact, you have to pay additional school fees. Okay? All right. Don't mind me. All right. So, Eba, you find out that we put one A, the last A in ome in bracket. That is to say that we can have ome, okay? And when we have ome, we now have to say ome ihe. But if we remove it, we will have ome. We'll add additional suffix. We're not talking about suffix now, so I'm not going to talk about that, okay? But in oza, it will be difficult to have just one a. That is how the nature of the word is. So you still have oza in here, the sweeper of the year. Oza in here. Nine, Dalo, thanks for following. All right. So now look at this. O is a prefix. O na nwanne ya bụ nganiru. Nganiru, prefix. Me na za bụ ngwa. Verb or verb root. And what we have here, O and O being prefixes, they are verbal. They are in the verbal category, okay? Hasona otungwa. So mgbe gbakwunyere O na O na ihu ngwa, ha abụọ ka nọ na verbal category, but they are going to give us what? A derived word that becomes noun. Derivative. We have derived a new category. Oza ihe, ome ihe. You are right, Chizi. Ome ihe. Just like omenka. You said that sounds like, oh, did you delete it? All right. So, yeah. You see that we derived a new type of word. Can I get examples right now from the students of today's class, of this kind of expression? Aya, usule mmadụ niile. Big JC. You're welcome. Right, let me get your own example with O and O as prefixes. Everybody. Okay, Rugo. Doreen, Dalo O, you're welcome. Now it's time when the teachers bring their cane to the table to flogging. Ota. Do good. Gini ka oputara. When you put it in Igbo, please give us the English. Oj, Ozu, please give us the English to help us. Olo, Sekufus, Oba. Thank you. All right. Okay. Ndi TikTok bera class, so please let them not win you. YouTube and Instagram. OC, cook. Is it? Oh, cook, yeah. OC. Please put everyone, put the English equivalent of everyone, please. Aya who go OC as cook. Or go. One other side. Who is or go? Obu. You see, one other side. You see, because I asked you to put in English now, you have failed it. Obu cannot be to kill. Or low, fighter. Ndị YouTube na ọbịakwara class taa biko nụnụ. Gịnị na-ese? Ọta chiwa, yes. Ndewo, do good. Ọgba bọọlụ, ike na ọdịka na-agba bọọlụ. Nna ị gara AFCON. Ọgụ, reader. Oh my God. Beatrice, kedu ebe ndị gị na ebe gị na ndị klaasị gị gara? Ore, Sela, thank you. Elizabeth, Ngozi, Ndewo, Nkuzi. Chizzy, I do not appreciate staying here and looking at Nyanya. On a maybe register. Oh my God, Jaja, what happened? You are late to class, Jaja. You sorogona ndi name birim register. Happy New Year again, Jaja. Why are you coming late? Also, buyer. Jaja, you are late. Ode, writer. Yeah, Chizzy, Ndewo. Thank you. Writer. Ode. Beatrice. Ongo. What is Ongo? Beatrice. What is it in Igbo, in English? Ogu, digger. Oku, speaker. Oba, dancer and player. Okay. Thank you, TKCWO3. Please, how do you say your name? Igbo. Mia, thanks for joining. Jaya, so you will understand. I will explain. Okay. Oku, speaker. TK is fine. Okay, TK, thank you. You're welcome. Ndị YouTube ọbụla. Oku, all right. Drinker. I want to go drinker and all right. Ndị Instagram are non-responsive. How about you go hibernation mode? Of course, storyteller. All of you are Sharp Brain Academy. It shows that you understood. Obu, killer. Yep. Killer of whatever. Okay. Oro, worker. So Nneka, kekwa iji tinye kpọm n'otu o itinye na nke ọzọ. Ị chọrọ ịgbakasị ụbụrụ isi anyị. Ọrụ, ode. Ikenna, anyị amaghị ihe ode pụtara, ọ bụrụ na ịgwa anyị ihe ọ pụtara na bekee. All right. So, Ome, thank you, Jaja. Ịghọtala ugbu a. Yes. Now. Okay. Right. Thank you, Benji Billion TV. Benji Billion TV, thanks for joining. Obu can be a cutter too. Yeah, Obu can be a cutter. Obu can be a butcher, right? Yeah. Igbo kaina amweba. Oh, this is an Igbo class. It is purely educational, and we are learning Igbo. Igbo. And this is a place for you to be every Monday. If you are not a native Igbo speaker, you have the Igbo people, Igbo language at heart. This is a place to be. Thank you for the interest in learning. Thank you, Benji Bilon TV. All right. So let's try to put this in a simple expression, okay? Catherine, thanks for joining. Catherine Ayuk. So we have Ome and Oza, and we're going to have expressions like this. Since we are still using Obi. Obi bo. Ome ihe ngwa. Obi bo Oza ụlọ. Right. So in the first one, Obi bo ome ihe ngwa, which means one who cries should be obey. Beatrice, one who cries, a crier, obey. Okay. Whether it's a town crier or a home crier, it's obey. All right. Obi bụ ome ihe ngwa ngwa. Obi is a doer of things fast. Obi is a doer of things fast. So why I'm laughing at this is that you may think that I'm not making obey aqua as well a standard construction in English. Of course, that's not what the class is after. We don't care whether the construction is standard or non-standard in English. What we are looking at the standardness of it in Igbo language, okay? Right. So the direct translation of it is Obi is a sharp guy now. Obi is a sharpshooter. Obi is a smart guy, okay? That's, another way of saying it. He does things fast. So Obi is a doer of things fast. All right. Obi bu oza ụlọ. Obi is a sweeper of the house. In fact, he's a sweeper of the year. Right. So Obi is a sweeper. Right. We know that one because we know that he sweeps his house every day. All right. Okay. So we have gotten expressions right now. Now, what we are interested in looking at here is that to see that by the simple mathematics we did here, addition, right? That's what we did. We derived Obi and Obi as a person, okay? A doer of something. So is a verb now. We have removed Obi no dey carry last at all. Cheesy. Oh my God. Obi no dey carry last. Niger. All right. Thanks for the roses. Thank you all that are showing love, that are sharing roses, that are making this class enjoyable and encouraging. You are much appreciated. My heartbeat is in your ability to learn and take this home and possibly replicate. Ma ọ wụ ya ma enweghị ihe na-amụta ihe m na-akụzi, agaghịzi m asụ bekee here. M ga-eji Igbo kụzie ihe niile. Church agbasa. But if you promise me that this is getting in, that this is going in, I am happy to use both languages to, drive this in. And that is my heartbeat. But in addition to that, I appreciate every gift, every rose, every heart that is being expressed here. You are doing this to encourage me, but more importantly, to improve the algorithm of this class so that it is going to be awesome to see thousands of Igbo speakers and non-Igbo speakers come to this place every Monday. This is going to make our work much, much easier. Thank you, Dinky. Thanks for joining and following. It's going to help us in the campaign of Igbo Literacy Project, which we are doing to educate Igbo people in the area of writing Igbo. Is a huge anomaly. It's a bad one going on. And we cannot fold our hands seeing it continuing. So the least support we can get is what you are doing here. Knowing that you are ready to come here every Monday, knowing that you are ready to participate, ask questions, contribute, and do assignments, give hearts, give rose, and give chance, and whatever gift that is in your purse is very much appreciated, especially from non-Igbo native speakers who are here with a huge interest to learn. Your reason is why, your presence is why we speak English here. Other than that, this is a purely Igbo class, and we appreciate your presence. Please stay put. YouTube people, yeah, unuwaka. All right. So this is how it looks when we put this into the perspective of a sentence, right? A sentential perspective. So we spent 1 hour 33 minutes here. We are winding down, you know. So the rest of our conversation now will go into questions, answers, you know, like you ask question from any aspect of your concern in Igbo. All right, Chizi, I appreciate you for that. Chizi says that many Igbo kids say learning Igbo is hard, but try to learn how to write Japanese and Cantonese. That one I know day. So that is like saying if you say education is hard, try ignorance. Try illiteracy. All right, yeah. So the unfortunate thing, Chizi, is that it's something I said the last time. As more and more Igbo born are born outside of Igbo land by parents who do not have interest in enculturating their children, the problem will continue. But if we do not do anything, that is where we'll have a problem. So for so many of you that are here who didn't have the privilege of acquiring Igbo language as you are growing up through the mentoring and the imitation you imitate from the environment, your immediate environment, which of course has a presence of parents and caregivers, that is the huge problem. Thank you, Dora Digital. So ndị ụlọ ọrụ omenka wee na-ewepụta onwe anyị si na ihe a bụ ihe anyị chọrọ ime. We are carrying out a campaign, the Igbo literacy campaign, to educate and teach Igbo young men and women. If I look at the analytics of this class, I am happy to see that the greater percentage of people that come here are between 18 and I guess 24 or 26. That is the greatest percentage. It gives me joy that, yes, I'm seeing this number. Also, ironically, but I mean, truthfully, it gives me joy that the greater percentage of people that are in this class joined from the United States. All right. Thank you, Doc Kman. This question comes here every time. Doc Kman says, Ezinụlọ so Ngwa. My family speaks the Ngwa dialect. How do I go about improving? Brother, the question is, do you speak Ngwa dialect? Stan Migram, thanks for joining on Instagram. Do you speak Ngwa dialect? If yes, speak Ngwa dialect when especially you are speaking to people who will understand you, like your family, your kindred people. It is only necessary for you not to speak your dialect when you are speaking with Igbo people from other dialectal regions, and they will not understand you. You can speak a more central Igbo. You can speak a more central Igbo to create what we call mutual intelligibility, to help them understand you, right? But should you write Ngwa dialect? No. What we write is a standard Igbo. If there's any reason for you to write Ngwa dialect at all, write it to people who will understand it. You cannot write Ngwa dialect in a text, because when the language is about writing, it is you are presenting a more formal version of the language, not colloquial. Doc Cam, I don't know if that one, Doc Kman, para make a mara. Now, the other question of na nwa afọ Igbo ọzọ na-abụghị onye Ngwa sụọ Igbo ị na-aghọta? Do you understand when an Igbo person from another dialect speaks in aghọta? If you understand, great. Do not try to copy them unless you want to speak the more central Igbo. Okay? So in this class, Ndi Omenka app na-asị sụọ olu ndị gị, especially mgbe ị na-asụrụ ndị ụlọ unu. Improve on that. Mana no dide de Igbo izugbe. What we are saying is more problematic for people who speak Anambra dialect. There is a huge misnomer that we are seeing that a lot of young people today who speak Anambra dialect are also taught Anambra in the classroom. To the point they write Anambra. It is wrong, like absolute wrong. Okay, right. So Beatrice, yeah, what is your dialect? For some people, they don't really speak their dialect. You're welcome, Doc Cayman. That is also because they have not had the opportunity of speaking their dialect. It's not much of a problem, but so long as in our Igbo, what matters is your speakability, your speak ability, your proficiency in speaking Igbo. You, ginwa dịka nwa afọ Igbo, mee ya ka ọ bụrụ ihe ga na-akpa gị mkpa n'obi na ị na-asụ Igbo, na ị na-eji Igbo ekwu okwu. The ability for a person to learn a language quicker or slower depends on speak ability, which is what we call proficiency. Okay? Your ability of using the language again and again will help you to begin to learn, even as an adult, how to make more derivative constructions in the language when you are speaking. What is your dialect, Chizi? Is it Anambra? All right. So this is what we're trying to do here. All right. Thank you. Thanks to you. Doc Cayman, you are not alone. He says, the speakability is my problem. I have been hearing Igbo since a baby, but not strong with my tongue. You are not alone. Newi, okay, I can imagine. Newi is Anambra. And I want you to take solace from the fact that you are not alone. But what will make you to be alone is if you do not, as an adult now, I suppose, or even if you are a teenager, your ability, your interest in improving every day. And ihe aka anyị na-eme ya nwa mere anyị ji hiwe ihe ọmụmụ a. The last Monday of the week, I'll be teaching 2 times here. One this time from 1 p.m. EST or 7 p.m. Nigerian time. And then later on in the night, which is going to be around 8:30 p.m. EST. Or in Nigeria, it should be around 1:30 p.m. or something, a.m. or something like that. Then on Saturdays, our cultural discussion program will also resume, I think, on the last Saturday of the month. Thank you, Sekufos, for the roses. On Saturdays, I get ebidokwa nkata na-akpa ihe gbasara omenala Igbo. If you can be consistent in appearing in these classes and programs where you hear more Igbo and use more Igbo if possible, it will help you a great deal. For some of you, you are ashamed to speak. Drop it. It is more shameful that you cannot speak. Because and that is what you are if you cannot speak your language. Kenji Dalo, oh yeah, Jaja, that's it. Umunna will regard you that way, and that's what you are. Like, what it means that not like somebody insulting you, but rather looking at yourself as, I lack something out of my cultural identity and I need to improve. There is nothing that positions you as a person of a particular cultural identity more than the language of that culture. There's nothing. Every other thing is additional. Wear all the beads and all the Igbo dress I can wear and walk majestically. Until they ask me something in Igbo. I say, huh? Just like yes, Saturday more elekere iri na abụọ nke ehihie EST ma ọ bụ elekere isii nke mgbede oge Nigeria. Anyị na-akpa ihe gbasara omenala. There's nothing that positions you better as a person that represents a cultural identity than the language of that identity. For those of you that read the Bible, there's one Bible story that interests me so much, that I like so much. It's about something that happened around the history of the children of Israel. There was a war sometime, can't remember, between the two countries, and Israel and the other country. There was this test that was set because the people were migrating across. So people were mixing up. They were looking for a particular tribe to, separate them from the rest so that the rest can be identified and be dealt with. Just like what happened with the Tutsi and the Hutus in Rwanda. So this particular tribe, the test they put for everyone to go through for them to identify if you are really from that tribe is to mention the word Shibolet. If you are not able to pronounce the word Shibolet correctly, you say Sibolet, like those who came from Oyo State. Who cannot say she. Everything is see. That's the end of you there. They will know you are not from that tribe that is supposed to be preserved, and you are being pied. So tongue, mother tongue, is very vital in a person's identification. It is a problem when it is lacking, and it's a problem you as an adult should do everything within your power that you live on planet Earth to correct. Like everything within how you pursue education, how you pursue money, like riches, to be rich and to be wealthy, that. If you are a social media influencer, how you do that. You need to put additional energy in positioning yourself with your linguistic identity. If you missed that as a person growing up, maybe because you were born outside of Igbo land. Yes, Sibolet and Shibolet. Exactly. You're right, Chizi. When a person who is not a native speaker of a language speaks a language, for instance, Igbo, there are expressions you would expect to hear that they may not speak correctly. Now, what we're talking about speaking correctly here is not a problem when a word is not well pronounced, but identify your continued consciousness towards identifying with your linguistic heritage is something that deserves a lot of credit. And that is something we are encouraging all of you who have made it a habit to come to this class. We're here to encourage you. And for what is worth, if you need a specified or customized class to learn Igbo separately, we have that on our website. You can go register on www.ihave.org rather. i-have.org. That is our parent website. Okay. You can go to i-have.org to register for a customized class. But if what we're doing here is enough for you, please make it a point of duty to be here. So in the class that I teach in the evening, I teach young people present, young Igbo people. And throughout last week, last semester, we were looking at the Igbo proverbs. This semester, we are starting with reading Igbo books. So we're going to be reading 2 books, one in Igbo, one in English. I'm going to make it known to us. Of course, one is going to be either Chino Achebe's work or Chimamanda's work. And then the other one is an Igbo drama that we recently acquired. Then in Ndinke Elementary, Ndikanono Otakara, they're also looking at Mbido Igbo. The class goes on in the evening as well, where you learn Aka, Oko, Imi. If that's where you are, maybe you can join that class as well. But that class is usually on the Zoom, not on TikTok or YouTube. It's done on the Zoom. Okay? Right. So additionally, in all that we're saying, Omenka app is also one beautiful resource for you, especially the word search. You can start learning how to pronounce Igbo words by just tapping on each word and, pronouncing after the voice that you heard. So that's a resource we have built. There are so many more things coming on the app, that we're working on. But right now, our biggest strength is the content we have there, the word search, the proverbs, some riddles, and a little bit of some other short stories that we have put together for you. We are translating Igbo English books into Igbo, and we're building an Igbo library on Omenka app. We're building a whole Igbo community on Omenka app. So I invite you to go to your Play Store and Apple Store and download Omenka app. But even when you do not be absent from the class. Emebirila m register ọzọ. Ọwụ na ewu nwa akwụkwọ na-abịa ebe a. Emebirila m register na-abịa akwụkwọ. Na-eweta handwork again. All right. Okay. So thank you for that, Doc K-Man. Enwere onye ọzọ nwere ajụjụ. Enwere ajụjụ, additional stuff. Right. So please, ndị Igbo, ebe ọbụla amụrụ gị, ọ bụrụ na ndị nne na nna gị akụziri gị ọfụma, like ha enye gị the opportunity ịmụta Igbo dịka ị na-eto, please, it has now come to your own hand. N'aka gị ka ọ nọzi ịkụziri onwe gị ma ọ bụ ịmụta. Okay? Just like parents really don't teach us everything. Parents don't teach us how to count money most of the times. Some of this we'll learn in school. So if we continue to blame our parents, you're not going to make any headway. Oh, my parents didn't do well. Yes, they did not. I will blame them, but now the ball is on your court. You are more aware. Queen ahụ mgbe a na-asị na mmadụ toro ọ maghị nna ya. Onye ahụ toruo mgbe o nwetere ego ma ọ bụ ihe niile ga-enyere ya aka iji gaa njem ịchọ nna ya. Before you know it, you will always hear the story. Has not met the father for how long, 30 years, blah, blah, blah. Now has found the father. It is something that people make a life's goal. They say, my father is alive somewhere. I'm going to meet them. People do that. That is the way I want you to desire to learn Igbo. If you are not born on Igbo land and you did not have the privilege of acquiring Igbo while you're growing up. That's the kind of effort I encourage you to put. And no other person can mount that kind of effort but you. And you can do that by coming to this class all the time, spending these 2 hours we spend here, burning your data if you are those that use data, if you must use data to go. And also burning your battery to be here. Then, because it was Ndinkuzi Igbo, this is a very vital topic. If we are able to get 100 teachers here every week, And these 100 teachers will go back to the classroom and teach correctly and write correctly in the classroom. We are producing thousands of hundreds of thousands of Igbo students who are going to be coming out of elementary and secondary school knowing how to write Igbo better. And this will make things easier for us. I mean, in no distant time, years to come, we don't need to teach this class anymore. Because all Igbo speakers know how to write Igbo. But right now where we are at a very deplorable, despicable, pitiable condition. Yenilenda ebo na asụsụ bekee. Ịma na asị na ụgha ka mma na bekee. Because na ta n'ọnụ m because na m na-asụ bekee. Otu a ka ọ dị nye anyị, some of us. And when once you tune back to Igbo, nsogbu adị. Mana dịka m na-akọwa, ọ bụ na ị nwere ike ịmụta ka esi ekwu ma ọ bụ asụ, wee tinyerekwuoro ya ka esi ede karịchasịa these basic things that you need to understand. And it begins with understanding the functions and the functionalities of an average Igbo word. Kedu ihe mkpụrụokwu a na-arụ? That will help you to understand how to write it, especially as it concerns the verbs and the nouns. If and when we get to other parts of speech or word categories like adjectives, it's also a different ball game. Okay? The writing of those might not be a problem. It's just the understanding of what they do. But where we have a problem in the writing of Igbo languages, in the functions of the words that are verbs and words that are nouns, especially the pronouns, not the real names. So, ịghọta kedu ihe mkpụrụokwu a na-arụ n'ahịrịokwu a, ọ bụrụ na ọ bụ ngwa, kedu ihe ndị mebere ngwa ahụ? O nwere nganiru ka o nwere nsonaazụ? That's what we're doing here. Mụ na ahụla ka Obi ji si na ịza n'ime nke ebu ngwa wee banye na aha. Now, Obi now becomes the doer of many things. This is simple. Okay? Just like Chizi said, there are more languages that are more, some languages that are more difficult to learn how to write than Igbo, even though Igbo is one of the oldest languages in the world, one of the oldest. Listen to Igbo histories, read Igbo histories, learn more about Igbo people. Igbo is your heritage. Some of us have been in the position where they are more inclined towards other languages that they grew up with. And sometimes you see them say things like Igbo people think they are unique or they are special. Yes, if you read Igbo history, if you go into the depth of understanding who the Igbo people are from the beginning, you will understand why those who know about Igbo think that they are a special breed. That idea did not just come for political purposes. It did not just come out of, the braggadocious Igbo people and all of that. No. It has been backed up with lots of archaeological and anthropological facts. So that is why the language cannot die. The language should not die. I'm not saying cannot in the way of saying is not able to. Is able to. If Igbo people desert their language, it will die. If we stop speaking our language, if we stop writing our language, if we stop promoting our language, it will die. So UNESCO is not exaggerating. It's rather stating the facts. Because the level of indifference and lack of interest in learning the language by the native speakers or the speakers or supposed speakers of the language is alarming. It's obvious. That is what we're speaking, what we're saying. Army, amen. Not on our watch, cheesy. And I agree with you. We should never let it be. We should never let Igbo die while we're busy rattling English and confusing ourselves. Because welcome man beke, onye cheto asi ya aga na beke. Our language should never die. So umunnem na umunnam, ụbọchị niile anyị bịara ebe a ise jaja, anyị na-abịa ebe a isoro na ndị a ga-asị in their lives ha soro kwalite asụsụ Igbo. Darling brothers and sisters, if there's anything you can live for, it is living for your cultural identity. I'm telling you this like I wish you could understand how I feel about it. If there's anything substantial, anything meaningful, useful, important you can live for in your life, is living for your cultural life. It's who you are. Is who you are. Because the other part of you, the genealogical, you are expressing it almost every day. Oh, it looks like his father. She looks like her mother, or, you know, oh, her grandmother. Oh, wow. She does things like, oh, I do things like my mother or my father. You are expressing yourself in that way every day you live. So most times it is the cultural identity that we shove off of our life and we're good. We don't care. And what this means is that if your language, if your cultural heritage dies, your history is wiped away from the planet Earth. Doesn't matter how well it has been kept. So, the Bible and other scriptures that people read in their own religion, it is because somebody wrote it down. It's because somebody wrote it and it continues to go through translations from one language to the other. Igbo needs to be preserved. And it cannot be preserved by anybody but you and me. It is you. It is me. It is I that will preserve Igbo. It cannot be preserved by foreigners. That is why when the foreigners, when the missionaries, when the colonialists came to Igbo land, finally, when Igbo was conquered, you know, finally, they started writing down Igbo. They ended up creating confusion when they intended to do the language good. Oh, let's document. And because this came through religion and church denomination, the Catholic and the CMS, there was a huge confusion. The Catholic was using a kind of orthography, the Onisha orthography. The CMS began with their own CMS orthography. And at the end of the day, because these two churches were not in agreement, they were not the same, they couldn't agree. They threw up confusion in the air. If you're a Catholic, you are writing Igbo with one orthography. If you're a CMS, you are writing with another orthography. There was a huge rift for so long a time until Igbo speakers and scholars took it upon themselves to harmonize the Igbo orthography. The first that we call the Onwo orthography, before the revised Onwo orthography. Today, we now have the Abichi, which was the Abibidi. But there are still people who, having the knowledge of the former confused orthography by the two religious organizations, are still having problems. Excuse me. And this has been alleged to be the reason that literature did not grow in Igbo land until late into the 70s, or rather, the 1930s, which is the 20th century, right? Because the first novel that was written, that is documented to have been written, was that of Peter Nwana, which is Omenoko. Okay,
So, but before then, our people had written in hieroglyphics and other forms of writing, calculations and everything. These are all factual and evident in archaeological, monolithics that were excavated from time to time. It showed that our people lived and have been writing for so long in the prehistoric time. Only that it was not well preserved. So, as we begin to round off, ana m ekele mmadụ niile ndị sonyere anyị taa na YouTube, na TikTok, na Instagram. Instagram did not improve very well today. It was a very low attendance. But I appreciate you all. Ana m ekele ndị niile nyere anyị roses, ndị niile tinyere anyị aka n'akara ịhụnanya, spreading love, ndị niile nyere anyị other kind of gifts. Thank you, Usekwu Foods. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Ndị niile bịara n'oge, ndị niile jụrụ ajụjụ, na ndị niile dere zatara ajụjụ. Ya dịrị unu na mma. Ndị ụlọ ọrụ Omenka app, Nwada Sally Adaeze Dunya, daalụkwanụ. Ndị nkuzi Igbo, Dora Digital, do good. Ya dịrị unu na mma. Neka and who else on YouTube were there from Ndinkuzi Igbo? And then the regular students, Chizzy and Beatrice on YouTube, and all of you, Jaja, thank you so much. And all those that have been very regular, Usekwu Foods, in the class. We couldn't just do this without you all. So if I come here standing before the board, I can't write to myself and explain to myself. So, Bikono, let us form a community of Igbo language promoters. And we are open to your contributions. We are open to your inputs. We are open to your advice. And if possible, financial support. Whichever way you have it, the least you can do. Join us in promoting Igbo. That is why we created the Igbo Literacy Project. It is the number of people that come to this class has not, tapped into the population of Igbo worldwide. Those who need this class, free. Okay, so let us go out there, let us improve by inviting our family members and friends as we come here, and sharing it even on our own contacts. So these videos stay back on YouTube after we are done, and on TikTok we just post the highlights, but you can find the rest on YouTube on Omenka app. That's what we do. On Instagram as well, you can find a longer version in case you want to change, or rather see what you missed. So in the next week, aga m ebido ileba anya na dika nganiru. I think we're going to finish it up by next week, and if we do, I will do a brief review, and then we go into the suffixes. Ileba anya na mgbe agbakwunyere nsonaazụ, ya bụ okwu ndị a na-agbakwunye n'azụ ngwa, kedu ihe ndị ọ na-ewetara anyị, kedu ụdị mkpụrụ okwu anyị ga-enweta site na ha. Ọ ihe anyị ga-ebido ileba anya n'izu na-abịa abịa. Nke mbụ, the M and the N, when they are functioning as syllabic nasals, they are able to be added to the front of the verb, and we'll see how they are also written and what kind of word category do they give us. So it is not going to be long. I know we're going to finish it within the first hour of our class in the next week, and then we start to look at, we'll do a brief review, and then we look at the suffixes. This is how we're going to roll. in the next week. All right. And were any final question? Thank you all. Thank you for taking us to 37,100 likes on TikTok. Let's aspire to reach 50,000 on TikTok. And like I usually say, it doesn't take much. It's just to keep liking as you are learning, you know, keep tapping on your screen. You see that I do not like always emphasize on that, believing that we know what to do. Just keep tapping on the screen, even for those that are on YouTube. You keep tapping while you are thinking. You keep liking while you are learning. So it is my pleasure to have had you all today in today's class. And I will see you on Monday and on Monday next week. And then the last Monday of this month, I get bidozi class anyị ndị ọzọ dị nke anyị kwụsịrị n'ihi oge